Hey, what's going on, guys? Bones88 here, and very quickly I want to go over the patch notes that just came out. There is a lot to go over, a lot, so I'm going to jump right into it, but there's some very controversial stuff. I'll let you guys know what I think about each one, but then what I think overall at the end. So let's get right into it. There is a lot. So pretty much the Winter Festival ended. They're just saying that the store will remain open until January 12th. There's a new hero introducing Brand the Brilliant, which is a new event. The bounty of Brand the Brilliant begins. It says new hero, but Brand isn't a new hero. Maybe it's a Brand event that's introducing a new hero? I don't know. If you guys know, let me know. They optimized the account reset function. If a player is a guild president, they now need to transfer the position. Arena matching reduces strength of the opponents in bronze and silvers. That's huge. I feel like in bronze and silvers, it's really hard for no reason. Like, I'm getting smoked every time if it's a 4 or 5 star opponent. They also added a point protection function. When you're attacked in the arena, the loss of points will not result in ranking down. When the hero passes purchase, and there's 3 days remaining, they remind you with the message. On multi-battle, there's status information of the multi-battle setting will be saved on the device. Not sure what that means, but I'm guessing if you're multi-battling 5, it'll remember that, or if you're multi-battling 10, or if you're spinning meal tickets, whatever, it'll remember that. So this is where the meat is of the patch, right? Tons and tons of buffs, but mostly nerfs. But I'll tell you at the end why that's not such a bad thing. So, Evra is the first one. Her skill 3, so the damage range has been increased from 100 to 2% to 150 to 200%. So she got a buff. Not bad, not huge, not even, I don't know if it matters, but she got a buff, right? Her trait, the damage range has been increased from 30 to 60 to 40 to 60%. Her ascension effect, gunfire support can now apply defense reduction to the target for 2 rounds instead of applying attack up. Attack up is good. My thing is attack up is everywhere, but defense reduction is not. Defense reduction is better than attack up, and that's huge. That's a very good buff. Evra is already a great character. She's now better. Desmond, his 3rd skill, the probability of infection has been increased from 60% to 100%, and the health loss per round while in the Plague Bringer state has been reduced from 10%, 20%, then 30%, to 5%, 10%, then 15%. Is that a buff? Yeah, but then it's a nerf. He already wasn't great. I've said in other videos how excited I was to use him and all that. Once I got my hands on him, he wasn't that good at all. So is it necessary to also nerf him? I don't know. Since it's increased to 100%, maybe that's a bigger nerf than I'm thinking it is, and it's going to make a big difference. I don't know. If you guys have Desmond, let me know what you think. Elson, who is like a crappy elite, his first skill is the probability of applying defense down has increased from 30 to 50%. His second skill, the probability of applying defensive down has increased from 30 to 50. Doesn't this not seem like it doesn't matter? I feel like no matter what, he's still not going to be any better. Let me know what you guys think. Celine, her 3rd skill, the cooldown has been reduced from 4 rounds to 3 rounds. That's a pretty good buff, I would say. And I didn't mind using her when I first started out. I used her quite a bit, actually. So, is it insane? No. But it's a cooldown of 3 instead of 4. So that's not bad. Freya. Freya's a decent character, too. Her first skill, the effect of applying speed down, is increased from 50% to 80%. That's quite a bit. That's actually pretty good. Her second skill, it now adds bleeding to the target for 2 rounds. That's insanely good. I'll take that. Hell yes. So Freya got a huge buff. Next up is Raven. I like her a lot too. Her second skill, the cooldown has been reduced from 4 rounds to 3 rounds. Once again, that's actually pretty huge, and she's already good as it is. Her third skill, the skill damage coefficient has been increased from 120% to 150%. I don't know what coefficient means. Once again, let me know if you guys know what coefficient is. It sounds like that's a buff. I'm pretty sure it is. If so, it's quite a bit of percentage up, and she got a decent buff. Next up we have Vance. His trait increased the Ascension effect damage from 20% to 30% for enemies with positive effects. I don't think that's huge, but it's a buff. We'll take it, right? His second skill, the skill damage coefficient has been increased from 100% to 150%. I don't know what coefficient is, but 50% more damage is huge. I will so take that. Vance sounds like he's gotten a lot better. So his third skill, the damage factor has been increased from 200% to 250%. In my opinion, Vance just took a huge buff. He's putting way more damage out, and he's putting 10% more damage overall for enemies with positive effects. So that's huge for Vance. Now we're getting into the nerf territory, and it's to some big names, I will say that. Big names that I use all the time. So I'm not too happy, but we'll get into that later. Brand. The legendary. He's very good. His first skill, the taunt probability is reduced from 100% to 50%. And the skill damage coefficient has been increased from 50% to 80%. So he gets a nerf buff there. Once again, we see that. I think they're doing these so it doesn't look like... so they don't get a bunch of flack for what they're nerfing, right? So I guess I'll take it. But that's a lot of probability you're losing right there. His third skill, before modification, it removed 2 negative effects from all teammates. After the modification, it removes 1 negative effect from all teammates. Okay. Was it making that big of a deal? Like, this didn't seem like it needed to happen, but there must be something going on in the game where all of this had to happen before launch. So some kind of bugs or things weren't working out how they wanted it to. So obviously they had to make these changes for some reason or another. Next up, my favorite character in the game. Dude is amazing. I love this guy. I use him more than anyone else in every mode. He's getting some nerfs. So his trait. Before modification, when he was taking damage, the damage reduction is increased by 5%, 10% if ascended, with a maximum of 3 layers. After it was modified, when he takes damage, the damage reduction is increased by 10%, 20% if ascended, and cannot be stacked. So that didn't really matter there. Once again, you're nerfing him, but you're buffing him. And I think this is more for balance than it is to change characters. So skill 1. The probability of applying attack down has been reduced from 80% to 50%. His second skill, the effect adjustment before modification, removes all negative effects and restores 30% of max health. After modification, removes all negative effects and restores 10% of health for each negative effect that is removed. Now, that's not as huge of a nerf as it sounds like, because he might actually get more health back the more negative effects that are on him. I still think it's a nerf. I think those caveats won't happen as much as it was before. Hackron. I use Hackron constantly. His third skill, the effect of increasing the max health up value is reduced from a maximum of 5 stacks to a maximum of 3 stacks. So, you know, the reason why we liked Hackron was for his survivability. That's taking a hit on his survivability. Next up, we have another huge name, Natalya. I think it's supposed to be Natalya, but I could be wrong. Her first skill, the skill damage coefficient has been reduced from 100% to 80%. Her third skill, the damage coefficient has been increased from 180% to 200%. So once again, it seems like there were some things that they needed to tweak, and it doesn't really change them much because they're nerfing something, but then they're buffing something else. So I'm starting to see something here where it's mostly just balance. There's probably things that are messing other things up that we don't realize. For the most part, these nerfs aren't as bad as what we think. Now, William. Also, another person I use a lot. His combat prowess, the base damage increase of all teammates is reduced from 50%, 80% if ascended, to 40% and 60% if ascended. You know, that kind of sucks. That does. That's just a straight up nerf. Fortunately, I don't know. I haven't tried any of these out after this. A lot of people are complaining. I feel like that's a straight up nerf to William. Next up we have Santis. Santis' Void Encroachment. In battle, the triggered attack effect can no longer trigger the trait. I don't know her trait, right? I can't tell you right offhand by looking. But a certain attack was triggering her trait. I don't know it right offhand. That still doesn't sound good for Santis. Let me know what you guys think. If you've been playing with her since the nerf, let me know how she's playing. Because Santis is one of the most used characters in the game today. So they added some more additional adjustments, and there's more nerfs. This is the biggest one I could probably complain about. Because in Game Over, I think about you the most. My buddy was just talking 2 or 3 days ago in Discord about how he's done nothing but farm Curse Set and put him on all his DPS, right? I mean, he was talking about it a lot, and it was just the other day. And then they literally nerfed it. I felt so bad for this guy. So before it was modded, after attacking, there's a 50% probability of launching a bonus attack using this character's basic ability. After it was modded, they just took that 50% probability and took it down to 35. That's quite a bit. That's a lot, actually. So that was the biggest nerf to me in this patch. Also, the poison mechanism has been adjusted. It was adjusted from settlement at the beginning of the round to settlement at the end of the round. So before, the poisons were hitting in the beginning of the round. Now they're hitting at the end. I'm not sure about that either. I don't know how that affects it. My thing is, if it's happening after the round, people could probably cleanse them. If they're happening in the beginning of the round, it's harder to cleanse. So that's maybe a big nerf too. And the rest is just general bug fixes that, honestly, I don't care about. I mean, obviously I care that they're working on bugs right. I'm happy about that. But it's nothing that important that you need to know about. So yeah, I just quickly wanted to go over what was said in this for people who aren't able to check it out through text. Overall, this isn't as bad as what you think. Like I said as we went through, there was nerfs, but then they buffed something else in most of their kits. I think William took a pretty good nerf. Hackron was straight up nerfed. I want to say Poison was nerfed, but I can't for sure say that. And the worst was the Curse Set. Once again, I know a lot of people who dedicated a lot of time farming Curse Sets, and that was a huge nerf. On top of that, though, with all that being said, was this an awesome patch to wake up and read? No, it wasn't. But I think it's a necessary patch. It's a very huge patch for the balance of the game before going global. They're going to go global soon. We don't have an official time for that, but they're wanting to do January 11th, things like that. So that means that they're wanting to get it out soon. The quicker they do that, the better. I mean, there's still half the world hasn't even played this game or doesn't even know about it. So I think this was very necessary. And just know, it's not as bad as it looks. It really isn't. I think it was purely for balance. And there's probably a few things where people were too OP. But the thing is like, it looks really bad to nerf somebody, especially a really good character that everyone loves and has grown to love. One thing I have noticed, though, people will complain. People will be pissed. 2 weeks later, we've forgotten about it. We've gotten used to it, and we move on. That's how we are as a community. That's how the players are around here. We adapt and we move on. So, let me know what you guys thought down below. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Did you think it was necessary? Is there any other points I maybe missed that I should have included? Let me know. Let me know down below. With that being said, I love you all dearly. Thank you all for the support that you give me every single day. I can't thank you guys enough. So, have a good day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.